I don't want to pass on this next one. I want to be in on this in some form. Michigan at Ohio State. Let's dive into this.
This will
Seven and
be
a
maybe
half.
the biggest handled college football game of the entire year.
Good, should
With
be.
it having the time slot that it has, with it having, if it was a later game, it would be for sure. I would bet that it would be. But everybody has an opinion on this one, B. How? Everybody.
7.5, Ohio State total 56. Both
Yeah.
teams maybe had a little look ahead spot last week because they were both sloppy, got through. Ohio State failed to cover in 3 of its last 4, including last week. Michigan had to escape late. So they come in ready to go. 2 big questions. The first, and I think the biggest, because this affects the whole handicap, is Blake Corum number 1 playing? Answer probably yes. He said he would, even though he was dinged up in the last
He's
game.
playing.
Okay, then go to
Yes.
number 2 or 1A. How healthy is he? Because a less than 100% Blake Corum is massive as much as he touches the ball and drives this Michigan offense. We know what Michigan wants to do. They came back a couple years ago and said, here's how we're going to beat Ohio State. We're going to mash. We're going to be a great offensive line. We're going to run it. We're going to motion. We're going to do all kinds of things. They have to have a healthy Blake Corum. That's number 1. The second question beyond that, then we start to get into the mechanics of the game. Jim Knowles, defensive coordinator now for Ohio State, was brought in from Oklahoma State. He's known for being great against the run, and that was his charge. Figure out how to stop this Michigan run offense. Ohio State's been better. They've improved defensively, albeit against a light schedule. They've been better against the run. Do
Yep.
they have enough to slow down the run with a banged up Corum and cover this number?
I don't know. What's your first thought when you see this game? Because the look aheads in the summer were as much as Ohio State minus 14. The look ahead as late as last week was Ohio State minus 6. And now we've settled on 7.5. The book has it just over the 7 to dangle it out there to see if you'll grab it, because maybe if Corum's not right, that affects Michigan a lot. It's
A
only one
lot.
player, but
A
a
lot.
lot. So now they become not one-dimensional, but they don't have their horse. Guy was like the 3rd choice to win the Heisman as late as last week as a running back. It's a huge deal. But your first thought when you see this number, because for me, feels too high. I feel like this is going to be a close game, and Michigan can win despite the fact they haven't won in Columbus in forever.
Since 2000.
Since
You want to feel
2000?
You want to feel old? The Winged Helmet on Twitter put this out. I was blown away. Michigan hasn't won in Columbus since 2000. The aforementioned Blake Corum was born 8 days after the last win in Columbus.
I do feel old
Hello.
with that one. I usually never really say I feel old, but now I feel old.
That's an old
with
one.
that
Hello, Blake Corum.
Wowza.
So here's the other part. So my first instinct is you're giving me 7.5 with a Michigan team that can run it like that and try and keep it close after what we saw last year in this game. Sure.
Yes.
But the flip side is the weather won't be as bad as last year in that snow and the
No.
muck. The worse the weather is, the better that is for Michigan. It doesn't
Yes.
sound like it's going to be that bad. There is a
Yes.
60% chance of rain, but we're like, what, 4 days out as we record this.
Yes.
My concern here is on both sides. I'm having trouble getting good data points because neither of these teams has really played anybody. So what's stuck in my head is that season opener against Notre Dame for Ohio State. You went, why isn't this offense more explosive? They didn't run away from Notre Dame, which I know Notre Dame's had a couple bad losses, but Notre Dame's turned out to be a pretty solid team. So Michigan's my first instinct, but I'm being pulled towards Ohio State here.
Yeah.
In a revenge spot with Jim Knowles is I mean, fantastic. I've watched him at Oklahoma State the last few years really build that defense up. I know he's not playing, but what he does is he teaches it so well. The guys are in the right spot. So all of that motion and that trickery pre-snap stuff that Michigan does shouldn't be as effective against Ohio State because they're better with their fits, their run fits.
Right.
CJ Stroud's got a Heisman on the line. Caleb
Yep.
Williams is now pushing him, maybe past him.
Yep.
It just, I know that's a lot of points for Michigan, but I feel like I'm being pulled towards Ohio State. Can you talk me off it?
It's so hard because, I mean, both teams are 11-0. This is the game. It's labeled the game. 6-4-1 against the spread for Michigan. 5-5-1 for Ohio State. The number's right. The number's right. I don't think you can go wrong either way. I think a lot of people are going to feel strongly one way or the other. The book's happy just taking these bets. The game, I think you take the points because you have a better chance of covering, let alone if you win, that's why you take the dog. And I always side towards the dog first and foremost. Look, I got to look and find a reason to take Ohio State. I don't think there's one specifically, B. How I can't bring you over to this side if you like the favorite. Other than
I
it's
wouldn't
that
feel
name.
I wouldn't feel strongly either way. If you told me if you're giving me the money and say you got to put it on Michigan, I'd say okay, I feel decent about that. The other part though, I mean, this Michigan defense has been very good. The best offense they've faced all year is Penn State, which is 37th. I mean, they
Yeah.
just have not played anybody. Can't this? I know Ohio State's down their best receiver. Some thought the best receiver in the country. Hasn't mattered. They just plug guys in. Marvin Harrison's been fantastic.
Mm.
Michigan's not going to get the same pass rush they did last year, right? They don't have Hutchinson in the backfield
Hasn't
creating chaos.
hasn't Ohio State had a couple slow starts in these games that I think I think first half under is
I
almost
I
got to
could
be
buy that.
on the menu of
Maybe first
plays.
quarter under. Would you want a first quarter under?
I
Those
mean,
have
you
been
like
nice
to
this
get
year.
deep in those ones. Like I get nervous of those first quarter unders only because like one little thing you can't overcome. One fumble, turnover, anything happens and you're done. But yeah, I think the game starts slow. I think it plays to the under, which means I think the dog's alive. I can't bring you to this side of with one specific thing, but dog and unders is what I'm looking at.
I'm I
First
might
half
do
under.
I might do a little first quarter under. I've had some success. We don't talk about that much on the show. I've played a bunch of those this year and take kind of one of the bigger games of the week. Look first quarter under for a slow start. It's 13 right now on DraftKings, so you need 2 touchdowns to beat you in a first quarter. Now, again, could there be explosive plays either way? Corum taking off on a big run? Yes. Could Ohio State get up over the top? Yes. But I might look at that. All right.
The cover might come down to one red zone trip where they don't get in and kick a field goal, something like that.
All right. We'll see where we land. I haven't made a play. I might look at that first quarter under, but I'm also leaning Ohio State, I think, Dave, at this point. Would like to get some more
Okay.
Michigan money in and get me down a little bit.
Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, click on another video right here on the screen. And if you really liked it, consider subscribing below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.